I am looking forward to this, and I'm sure. Hey, Bisola!
Mama.
Wow! Oh my goodness, you look gorgeous.
Thank God. We
Wow!
try.
Lovely,
Thank
lovely,
you.
lovely. Is this the? Are you using the laptop?
No, 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 I'm using my phone. It's
Okay.
not allowing me to send a request. So,
Oh, with the laptop. Okay.
but can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, fantastic. So I don't have to use my headphone.
You look good, girl. Wow.
Thank you.
And don't be loved, it's only what? It will be 3 weeks
Weeks to Monday.
on Monday. You look good. Oh, look at that mug, Mama Toby. Wow. Lovely, lovely. Oh, I think I need to go and get one too. Grandma Toby. Oh, let's imagine.
So we're trying to get it right.
Okay. But
Yes.
that's okay. I think
Yeah, thank you.
the headroom is fine and everything.
Thank you.
It's fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we welcome Abisola again? This is her first time on Insta Live. So please welcome her. Yes, show her some love, 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 love. Abisola, we love you. We love you.
I love you too.
Oh, because thank God, today Larry's not here, so we can talk about hair, and your hair looks nice. Yes.
I tried to learn.
And you got to hear me? Oh, nice. And the pearls.
No.
Can't see.
The Primani earrings.
They're lovely. They're lovely, lovely.
Thank
Seriously, you look really good, sweetheart.
Thank you. We thought to make an effort.
You had to make an effort. Well done. We're so happy to have you here. That's what someone just said. Oh, and you're looking good. I know you said you don't want to read the conversation. She said she doesn't want to read the conversation so that she doesn't get distracted. So I'll read some of them. They say glowing, that you're glowing, Bisola. You look
Thank
very
you.
lovely. Oh, that's Auntie. That's your mom. She said you're looking. What did she say? Now I missed that. You look very lovely, precious daughter.
Oh,
That's lovely.
thank you.
You really look lovely. Yeah, and lots of congratulations. You look on fleek. You look lovely, yummy mommy. We're so excited to have you. No, seriously, everyone is excited to have you here.
Thank
And I
you.
know that it's going to be awesome. Listen, I know you were a bit nervous, right, about coming on.
I am very nervous, actually.
But just imagine that where is it? Starbucks. You know my favorite cafe, Starbucks.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite drink to have?
It's the end of the coolers. I don't do hot drinks.
Okay, anyone. Okay. Mine is that's special. You know the mix I always have anyway.
Yeah.
What I'm having. So yes, we have an audience, but it's between mama and daughter. So it's
yes.
Conversation. So, we have to give hugs. Can we please give her a hug? Oh, well, not hugs. Can we just give her hugs, people? Let's show her some love, more love. Hugs.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
They say don't be nervous. Your smile and joy is palatable. You're looking beautiful. Your
thank you.
Wow. Oh, and they're giving you loads and loads of hugs.
Thank you.
From here.
Thank you, Dele. Thank you, Kemi, Emma.
Oh, you can.
I can I can see. You can see. But once we start, I will not see anymore. I'll focus on my mama. But for now, yes. Thank you, Auntie Shade. My kind day. Thank you all. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So I've taken on my hug. Thank you for the hug.
Okay. So welcome to Hangout Cafe.
Thank you, Mama.
Delight, absolute pleasure, sweetheart, to have you here with us. Really, really a pleasure. So let's get started. Larry said something last week, or I can't remember if it was last week or when he was having a conversation with me. He said that you were part of his harem when you were at nursery school. Is that true? Yeah. Is that true?
My mother-in-law should be watching this, so I'll just say yes, it's true. Because Mama said it. So yeah, so when the same class in nursery, and my mom-in-law claims that I used to chase her son. So we just leave it like that.
Okay. Because Mama,
and then also so I'm just gonna leave it like that. That it's true, but God knows.
God knows. We know, and God knows that. Okay, baby girl doesn't.
Anyway, I don't chase. They chase me.
They chase you. Yeah.
I'm the flower in the garden.
So you get to pluck the flower in the garden.
You get to pluck the flower.
Oh, yeah, somebody said wise answer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Bumi said you were chasing boy when you should have been reading.
It was we didn't read. We were sleeping and playing. It
Yeah,
was daycare.
it was kindergarten.
Like
Kindergarten.
preschool.
Yeah, preschool.
Yeah, like preschool, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's get down to it. I'm sure we have loads, or rather, you have loads to talk about.
Yeah.
So we know how you met. Everything you said last week, was that right?
Yes. Yeah.
So for those that are joining us for the first time, if you didn't watch last week's session, please go to my IGTV to watch it. I'll go to my YouTube channel, Oluadiaga, and watch Larry's testimony. Now, Bisola, Larry was brilliant last week. But I don't want to deny his experience of waiting for 15 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is that I'm sure you got a lot of the, how come you're not married? How come you've not had a baby? What are you waiting for? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? So we want to hear your side of the story today. So you met him and everything, you said everything he talked about last week. That was okay, right?
Yeah.
So you guys got married and then you started trying for a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so start from there and then what?
So I think Larry mentioned that we got married in 2004.
Yeah.
And the plan was, because when we got married, then we were young. Not, we were 26. We were 26 when we got married. And we didn't have a lot of friends that were married then. So we thought, okay, we'll give ourselves a year, just have fun, and then we'll start trying for a baby. Well, 6 months into, so by June, I'm just approaching 6 months.
Yeah.
I told Larry that, oh my gosh, I'm broody, that let's stop everything. Obviously, we want the pill, that let's stop the pill and start trying for a baby. Yeah. So we started trying in June of 2005. Okay. Now, because we obviously nothing happened, so I wasn't really thinking about it because we had given ourselves 2 years. So the remaining 6 months of the year, we were trying, and nothing happened. But because I was on the pill, I had been told that it also takes a while for your body to recover and blah, 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 blah. So we were not even worried at all. And then in so that was in 2006, we kept on trying, and your husband and Daddy Doc, my papa, obviously said, okay, what's going on, that we should go for tests. I mean, we hadn't thought about doing anything. We just thought, with time, things will happen. And then we had to do a series of tests. They ran a test on Larry and I. Yeah. And as Larry said last week, we were called to the doctor's office, our GP, and we were told our test results. And all I remember him saying, because I just sat there and it was like, obviously from his face, it was like, and then because so he knew us. So it was like, that from the test results that they ran, that is not looking good, that we only have a 3% chance of conceiving naturally. That was the only thing after that, everything just went, I didn't even hear anything. I was just like looking at him like, So it was like, we only have a 3% chance of conceiving naturally. Yeah. That he would obviously advise us to go home and think about it. Or he was saying that we were unable to conceive without assisted conception. Wow. And obviously Larry, so we took the letter from him. We got home. I did not see, and I didn't, after the 3%, everything else he said,
you didn't hear.
It was just lost on me. Wow. And then when we got home, I literally just broke down. I just started crying. Because for me, even though, yes, I was a Christian, I believe God's word, but all that resonated in my heart was 3% chance. And obviously, I told her that was really low. And that with that 3%, he would advise that we go for assisted conception. Okay. So I think when we heard that, my own heart, and then we got home, because Larry tried to encourage me. I mean, he talked about it, what he did last week. He put out the letter, and we talked about it. Even though I was agreeing that this will not define us, we set our goals, that, our commitments to be more intentional with loving God and serving God, and also intentional about loving each other. And there was we didn't even ask, people used to ask us then, so whose fault is it? We had already agreed that we're not saying, is it Bisola's fault that we can't conceive, or is it Larry's fault? We're just going to just say we cannot. It's a we thing, that we two have been called one. There's no separation. So that happened, and
awesome.
Obviously it was very, very. I mean, I completely lost it. basically, because I just thought all hope is lost and all of that. Even though, yes, I was a Christian. And then we now went for, and then he put us forward, and then we started doing the test for the assisted conception, which we did in IVF, which our first one was in 2008.
Okay. Okay.
So should I go on?
Yeah. So after.
So we did. Sure. So we did that.
Sorry, let me just go back to something you said, because I think that is so important. When you said there was no, oh, is his fault or her fault? It was a we thing. Wait, how did you guys come about that? It was, I mean, that's just so awesome.
So I think, because I think God, I just thank God for the kind of husband that God has given me. He's a wise young man. Let me not say old man. He's a wise young man, and for him, because he knew the kind of wife he had. He was like, Bisola, look, we're not going to go there. This is the report the doctor has said, but we believe the reports of the Lord. And that because that we have to work this thing with everything God first. So even in our attitude, when we speak to people, when people ask us questions, now, if a Papa Doc should ask me, or Dr. Coker, these are medical people, of course I'll tell them where the issues are, who has what. But if people are just asking it just for the sake of, I'm like, are you a doctor? As in, how does that affect? So I think we're just that we just also protect ourselves as well, and protect our marriage, that this is us thing. We're the ones dealing with it. We don't want to expose anyone. We don't want anybody pointing fingers that it's his fault, it's her fault. So we told the medical people that we knew that obviously could advise us on what to do whilst we're even doing all of the treatments and all of that. But in terms of telling our families or anyone, we're very plain on it was a we thing, that we had issues around conceiving naturally, and this is what the doctor has said.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. I love what Bumi said. How does your questioning me help conceive? And it was a good way to protect your marriage also.
Yes.
Really good.
And thank God we did that, because we didn't even know how long the journey would take us. Because if someone had told me that it would take us almost 16 years, I would have like, how? Never. So I'm just happy that we had that foundation so that we could obviously build on that.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys decided to go for the assisted conception, and then talk us through the first one.
So with the first one,
all together. Sorry,
we did two. It was just two. Okay. So the third one was that would have been 2020. So we're planning for the third one this year. So obviously, God had a bigger plan.
Yeah.
So with the first one, it was kind of just thrust, because obviously I was then I was still, obviously I'm more mature now. I wasn't a lot mature then, and I just thought, so for me, when they said 3%, obviously I was a Christian, but I just sat on that 3% in terms of we can have a baby naturally. So when the whole thing of IVF came up, I was just like, yeah, let's do it. It wasn't like, honestly, did I pray about it? Obviously, we've been praying, but I've been left to Landway. We couldn't have done it. He wasn't ready.
Okay.
But he just thought, look, she's the woman. She's the one that is carrying all of these things. Let's just go for it. So he was just kind of, let me just do what Bisola wants to do. So we had the first cycle, and the honest truth was, during that cycle, it was our first time. Now people talk about IVF now. People are very open about it. But then, 15.5 years ago, in 2008, it wasn't really talked about. It was one of those things that nobody really wanted to say. So I went into it with no understanding. I had no idea. Obviously, you hear about it. I read about it on the internet, but in terms of, I'd never experienced it. I didn't know anyone that had. So this is my experience of IVF.
Okay.
So went into it. I remember the first time they asked us that, oh, would you like counseling? I'm like, no, I'm a Christian. I don't need counseling. I've got this on lockdown. Mama, halfway through it, I'm like, it was a make or break for our marriage, because I didn't even realize how invasive it was. How, for me, it was, I did everything. I remember the first time that I had to obviously do the whole injection. And for a long time, I used to get my friend to come and help me with injection, but it wasn't sustainable because I was injecting myself every day. And then the first time we had to.
How long was this?
Sorry?
How long? Every day for how long was this?
Every day I think it was about 2 weeks. It's also depending on how your body responds to what you inject. So they tell you increase the dose, reduce the dose. But it was so it was all of these things to shut down all my like system, because they had to take over my body really. And I remember the first time that Lami and I had to do it ourselves. I held this thing. I was just a bucket full of emotion. You know your daughter. I can't cry for her. I was just crying, and then Lami and we're playing worship music in the background, And now we just burst out crying that, you know, this is what it's going to take for us to have a child. Anyways, we did that. And the honest truth was we were the perfect candidate in terms of I responded to everything. Obviously, it was very invasive, but I think for me, it was just at the end of the tunnel, my baby, my baby. So I was just going along that, oh, my baby, my baby. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, it got to me that I would, you know, just ask God that, you know, why us? But anyways, we did that. We had the we had the, you know, retrieval. My embryos were perfect. Yeah. And then we had the transfer. And as Larry mentioned last week, is when they put it in, they tell you that they've done what they can do, that you obviously, whatever higher being you believe in, is up to them to kind of do. Okay. And you obviously have the 2 weeks wait. I was on complete bed rest. And then I had, you know, that kind of, there was so much hope that, oh yeah, because we ticked all the boxes. Just before I had the egg collection, I felt that, you know, when you read the Bible and the word speaks to you, like this is it, that we're having our baby. And then we had the test result and it was a negative. Wow. And it was so devastating. It was horrible. But so because we did test at home. Yeah. And the funny thing was, I started feeling funny. Like my period was going to come. Yeah. So we did the test on the 14th day. Okay. 2 days after my period started. Because my period always announces it gives me warning. So I started having migraines, having like double vision. I knew that it couldn't be pregnancy symptoms, but it was too early anyway. Okay. And I was telling Larry that, oh, my period is going to come. And then with day 16, I started my period. So we went to see them in the hospital, and they were like, oh, they don't know that this is, obviously, it's not in their hands, that they've done what they can do. Yeah. So that was that in 2008. And I remember when that happened, we had the results on a Friday. That day, I got a text from someone in Jesus' house that, oh, we have a meeting on Sunday. I have a whole day meeting. Yeah. Can you come and look after my children? She had a few months old baby and a 2-year-old. Okay. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. But God just said, you need to do this. Wow. That in your pain, you have to serve. So I went to church on the Sunday, 2 days. I was not going to go anywhere. I was just going to be under my pillow crying. But then I went to church. I held on to the babies. I mean, changing nappies throughout first and second service. And evenings, then we had evening service then. I did evening service as well. Yeah. I got home that day. I cried. I'm like, God, this is so painful. But I still did it. And I just thank God for that season. And then, yes. And then we kind of I just thought, I'm not doing this for another while. That I'm just going to just trust God. And then by then, Larry and I had talked about, you know, he talked about all the stages of carrying me. And, you know, so that's when the whole process started in terms of, Abisola, you need to. For
those who missed it, he talked about, I think, envision, then carrying you.
Carrying, then
deposit, and then deposit.
The deposit and then the release. So that was that journey so we had that journey. So I just thought that even though obviously I still went back to trying, actively trying, trusting God. And Larry just held on to God that God hasn't told me that we're not having children. So I don't know what you believe in, but I know that we will have children. How we're going to have it, I don't know. But I believe what God says, and that's what we just kind of went on. And because of the things that we had made, the commitment about being intentional, we were obviously being godparents. Like talked about the whole thing that what we said, we will do what we can do in terms of be the best godparents we can be. I'll be the best daughter-in-law to my mother-in-law. I'll be the best daughter, sister, and I'll serve in church. I was working with children's ministry in church. Yes, it was very tough. Yeah. Because I used to work with the little kids. Yeah. And, you know, and being in a very big church as well, everybody knew our story because we didn't have to say, there are some things that you can't hide. If you're single, if you're married without children, your story tells itself. So having to deal with all of that, well, we thank God that it was just, I think Larry's strength really helped me because for a few years, I wasn't ready. Okay. But because he kept just held my hands and like, we can do this, we can do it. And then we just and then I matured and I became in that place where, you know, but it's long waits. I can't even lie. There were days when I would see my period there's so many drama.
Can you remember can you remember some of the conversations you were having with God during this period? Can you remember some of the conversations you were having with God during this period?
Oh yes. So I think when we first got the news, it was like, God, why us? Why me? You know how my heart belongs to children, how I love children. Yeah. And you know, God just kept on just the scriptures. I had so many scriptures I used to hold on to. So it was because it was a long season. With every season, I always had the scripture that God would give me. But one of the ones that held me through from the time we found out in '06 up until the day I delivered Tobiloba was that trust in the Lord with all your understanding. Do not, Proverbs 3.
Yeah.
That, so Larry, when I'm even crying, Larry is putting it over my head. But this is a scripture that God, because that one sustained me throughout.
Wow.
It was trust, just be like, trust in the Lord. Don't, your understanding, just acknowledge Him. He will direct your path. That was one thing. And also sometimes when, when you go for, sometimes when they invite us for like maybe a 1-year-old party, and I'm like, I really don't want to go. And I'll talk to God about it, and God will tell me, "Oh, I will give you the strength that you go there. Not just go there, you go there. You also help. You help them set up, help them wash, do everything. But that in the end, that I will take the glory. That just do this one for me." So I used to say a lot of things that I used to do. It wasn't that I had that strength. It wasn't my strength. It was God's strength, because I would just say, God, that another Kids Fest weekend is coming. Help me to be able to just let me serve, but let me serve with you. Let me serve with purpose. Let me do the things that you require of me.
Yeah.
And even like Mother's Day as well in church, that was one of the biggest ones. Mother's Day for me, it was in the first 4 or 5 years, it was okay. But then by then, all my friends are now married, having children. Right. The people that were mentoring so it was now hitting home more. Yeah. But it was just having I just used to talk to God. I used to cry to God. Sometimes I'll be in the room, I'm having my morning devotion. Let me just wake up. I'm just a basket full of emotions. I'm just crying. And He didn't have to ask me what it is. And then sometimes, obviously, when my period is, because with every month, it was, so beginning of the month, it was renewed strength. Right. Like, oh, this is our month. Because I've seen my period the previous month. And then once the period comes, I go down. I think we talked about that. So Larry will have to pick me up for a long time. That used to happen. Pastor Badge, one day I was in the church office. My period started. Literally ran into his office, threw myself on the floor in his office. This is during working hours, by the way. Wow. He actually thought someone had passed away. And for 2 minutes, I could not talk. I was really, his PA then obviously ran in, she was afraid. And then he was like, my period. I was like, look, it just came. So he had to call Landry to come down from our house in Feltham then to come to church office. Larry was very irritated. Like, I'm just like, seriously, Bisola. You knew your period was coming. So I had all of those. You with your husband as well. I had so many episodes. Wow. But I just thank God, really. I look back now, I really thank God.
Okay, so you had the first assisted conception that didn't work out. Then when did you decide to try again for the second one? So
obviously we kept on trying naturally, and so we had the second one in 2017. So this is a few years, because then because I just of that thought that I will definitely get pregnant. That after that we won't wait this long. So I think it was 2016. Obviously not so much pressure.
Like 8 years after.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Because you think that let's just give it. Because for me, I don't do pain. So I just could not imagine having to go through the whole process again. Yeah. So with the second one, obviously I was more matured. I was more in tune with God. I had better understanding. By then, I was in my release stage where I was, as Larry had said, by then we're always, when Larry is up, I'm down, Larry is up. So we're carrying each other. So with the 2017 one, we went in together. Okay. We knew we wanted to do this. Okay. We planned for it, we saved for it, and we went on to do it. And we did this, and as I said, with the second one as well, similar with the first, I was the perfect candidate. Everything, that one we were 100% sure. With the first one, I was 100% sure we were going to get pregnant. Yeah. With the second one, we were 100% sure we would be pregnant. And I remember, in fact, when I was just during the treatment, I had ordered maternity dresses on ASOS to the house. Wow. That I was so sure, because we had heard. Yeah. And we did the treatment, and the 2 weeks stay. Yeah. I didn't come home. So from the hospital, I went to one of my sweetest auntie's house. Okay. That she just said, come to me, and so that people not disturb you. So that Larry can obviously focus. He was working from home. Yeah. I just come to my house, and I will take care of you. So I went there. I remember it was 2 weeks wait. Yes. as I said, because I had ordered the stuff I didn't even see the maternity dress, but I ordered them from ASOS because I was so sure. And then, so day 14 is when you test. Day 12, I started having period pains in the morning. So I called Larry. I'm like, babes, we need to come now. That I'm having, obviously my husband was like, what? Period pain? As in, are you sure? Because they tell you that when the eggs are touching to the womb, you might feel a bit cramped, like as if it's your period.
Okay.
I said, babes, I know my body. This one is not attaching nothing, that my period is coming. So he rushed, he drove down to my auntie's house. And by the time he came, I was full bloom bleeding.
Wow.
So it was this was day 12. It was a total failure.
Wow.
Mama, that was, as in, I just sat down there, I cried.
Wow.
I just thought, wow. Because you know when you put all your hope, I think for me, it was a lesson that it's like you can't put your hope in. I know that IVF is God ordained, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I am 100% in support of a second conception. That's my own personal choice.
Yeah.
That I believe in it because I believe that God has given the doctors wisdom.
Yeah.
But I think for me, for me, it just made me realize that you can't put your trust in this, that you put your trust in God.
Yeah.
But for me, I had put so much hope in this, in the second treatment that, you know, we just think that, this one, that's happening.
This is it.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So when the result came, it was very, 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 very devastating. I'm like, you know how I used to Larry that if I even get home, you know those ASOS things, don't even open it, just return to sender. And I just want my money back. That I don't want to see anything. And I just shut down. So I had that big cry. And I just shut down that I'm not even going to talk about this anymore.
Okay.
Larry, for a long time, I was working in the church office then. I bottled it up. I'm like, I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay.
I don't want anybody to ask me anything about it. If a few friends knew we're going through the treatment, Larry, I told everybody, that when she's ready, she'll come and talk about it.
Yeah.
Please don't ask her because I was angry.
Yeah.
I think I was more angry at God that why would you do this to us? That this is how many years now and all of that. But that happened with the second IVF. And then I just thought I am not doing this anymore. That it's too invasive, it's so painful. It's, the roller coaster of emotions, and that I'm not going. I told your husband, Papa, that I am not doing this anymore. Like, don't worry, let it go for now. We would have this discussion
Later
again sometime. But I know that it's very painful and all of that, because yes, as I said, we were the perfect candidates. We had frozen, and we even had embryos frozen. I'm not even going to use any embryos frozen. I just leave me. That I will come back to it in a few years' time. So yeah.
So you thought, okay, that's it. I'm not doing, let's just leave it. Since God doesn't want to do it through assisted conception, whenever he wants to do it.
Yeah, he will do it.
There was something Larry said last week. He said, your papa said, what if God decides not to give you? And then you walked out of the office. Now, where did you get to that stage where even you thought, okay, if God doesn't want to, that's fine. I'm not going to force it. How did you get to that stage?
So this conversation, it wasn't the first time I'd heard it. Larry had always talked about it, that he was saying, Abisola, I did not marry you for children. I married you because I loved you. Children are a gift from God.
Yeah.
It's a reward. Yeah. So it's not a basis for, if I wanted children, I didn't need to wait to get married to you. I would have gone out and, had my own fun.
Yeah.
But so I married you because I love you. Now, it's you that, obviously, I know that you long to, obviously, have your own child and all of that.
Yeah.
So, and then he's telling me then that, even though God had not said it, what if God, I just used to shut down that, that's conversation, let's not have it.
Yeah.
So this day, I had one of my very many, because I obviously, because I'm very close to your husband, it was one of those, my people that I could just go to, and I would just cry. He just sits in his office, he watch me, I'll cry. When I finish, he's like, are you done? I'm like, yes, Papa, I'm done. I'll pick up my bag and I'll go. This was because I used to work with him, as I used to work in church office. So on this particular day, Larry had reported me that obviously my period had come, had been a basket. This was after the second IVF as well. And I found out that a few people that I knew were expecting, were pregnant. So it was very, very painful. So I went into his office. He called me that we just had a chat with Larry, that was going on. Just what's going on, Mama, I just burst out crying again.
Wow. And
then he was like, I said, that I just need to ask you a question. He said, what if God decides that he's not, he said, I'm not saying he said, that don't get me wrong, I'm just asking a question. But what if God says that in this lifetime that you will not have a child of your own, that you will not conceive? I just took my bag. I said, Papa, this conversation, I'm not having it. I just cried, I took my bag, and I just left his office. Like, I'm sorry that I'm not having this conversation. I need to go. That how could you have said this? So I got home that day. I drove home. Obviously, I went back to work. Well, that day I was just a basket full of him. My eyes were red throughout work. So I got home in the evening. Obviously, I was thinking about it a lot as well.
Yeah.
That Abisola. So because God hasn't answered this one request, all the things that He has done for you, you are in a fantastic marriage. Your husband loves you. That even through the years of not having a child, he has never for once pointed his finger at me to say, how, why you, that you have my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, never. So I just got counsel. I was recollecting all my blessings.
Yeah.
That you have fantastic friends. That you're in good health. You're in good marriage.
Yeah.
You're not suffering because of this one request that God hasn't granted. Are you not going to forget the things that He has done? That you're not going to count your blessings because of this one thing. So obviously during the day I had that pondering in my heart. So I got home and obviously I called Larry on my way home as I was driving home. That, can you even imagine what Papa said? Like, Larry just kept quiet. So I got home. Was like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I just need a me time with God. So I went into the spare room. Yeah. I got on the bed and I cried. And I was talking to God that, that this is very hard for me, but that I know that you are still, I know who you are. I know you're still God. You're my sustainer. You're my provider. You're the lover of my soul. So I said all these things. Yeah. And I now said that, that I know that you love me so much because you're giving me so much. Yeah. I'm so grateful. Yeah. And that in my heart of heart, that I've come to let you know that even if you decide not to, it's okay.
Fantastic.
That, so obviously I cried and then I came out of the room, cleaned my eyes, and I told Larry that it's okay. It's all right. That if God doesn't do, that we are godparents. We've always, and now you talk about the adoption, that we would one day adopt. We will not substitute the adoption for not having the kids at the moment, but we will do that. But where I am right now, I'll be the best in whatever I do.
Yeah.
And the next day I went to meet Papa. I said, Papa, that question is all good. That is all good. That I have cried my eyes out. I have spoken to God. I've had the reassurance. And I'm fine. So that was the end of that conversation. And I used to talk, because I even had friends that were trusting God, and I would say the same thing to them. That what if God? They're like, we're not there yet. That you need to get there because that's when the release will come. Yeah. That for me, it was a new release, it was a new lease of life. Yeah. That you know what, I can just know that even if it doesn't answer this particular request, that He's done so much, and I have fantastic relationship with our godchildren, with my nieces, my nephews, that, it's all good. It'll be painful, but I would live life like it's golden.
Fantastic. Amazing. So throughout all this period, God was growing you, getting you into a deeper place of...
And because of that, we became more intentional with my friends' children. I think like we talked about all of, I don't want to repeat what he said in terms of, we're so involved in a lot of our godchildren that we were very intentional with them in terms of, I always had children coming for weekends in my house. I would babysit. People would go on holiday. Like, we're going for a wedding somewhere. Can you come and look after our children? Can you do school runs? I just thought, I'm just going to just give myself a service. And that God would obviously just help me and just make me stronger. It was obviously at the end of the day, we're going up to an empty house. It was just the two of us. We will have our time together. And so that was really it.
Last week I didn't say this to Larry, but I'll say it to both of you now. I have been really amazed by the grace, the strength, and the dignity in which you guys have carried yourself over this last 15 years.
Thank you.
It's been amazing. And everything you said, I'm sure people are on this, people on the live can testify to that. You were good godparents. You were mentor to Temi and Tubo and many others, I'm sure. So it's really, God has really, really been gracious to both of you.
Thank God, thank God.
Been amazing.
Okay. Thank you.
So, second IVF failed, and you decided that's it. And then you got pregnant. Tell me about that.
So in 2018, I was 40. And I remember praying to God on my 40th. Obviously, lead up to my 40th. Larry kept on asking me from the December that, babes, that what do you want for your 40th? I'm like, what do I want? The obvious thing I want is I want a baby of my own for my 40th. Or that would be my birthday gift from God and all of that. So obviously and then you know how I think we got to that stage where we were just really doing life, enjoying ourselves, and just doing the best we can.
Yeah.
And then in March, I top 40 in March, and that month, so I had my 40th on the 16th of March, and a few days later, my period, as I said, my period is like clockwork. I am 26 days on the dot.
Wow.
Give or take 27, 2 days, 3 days, kind of thing that I'll be late. I think like we talked about the time where I was late for like 3 days and I had all the symptoms and I got to work and I thought and then he had he was thinking that I'll come in, be very emotional. But by then I'm like, it's okay that we've gone through this. I think by then it was like 13 years. So I've gone through all the seasons of life, all the emotions. So I was in a very good place.
Okay.
So we found out. So obviously then obviously with every period, Lammy is carried along because it's like clockwork. And as I said, my period was very timely.
Okay.
And my period didn't come. So I told my husband that this is now 3 days after the 3 days give or take kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, let's do a test. So we did a test. And for the first time ever, we've never tested positive in 13.5 years. Never. And you know, some people say, did you have miscarriages? I said, I didn't even have positive. People say, I want to miscarry.
Wow.
We'd never gotten pregnant. And then 2018 March, just after my 40th, we tested positive for the first time.
Wow.
Mama. In fact, the first 2 people that I sent was your husband. I think I sent you guys. I just sent you guys the pregnancy result, the picture. I sent that to my auntie, and I sent that to Mrs. Gibson White. Yeah. And I think your husband called me that, sorry, what's going on? As in, what's this? And I'm like, Papa, we are pregnant. He was like, when did you guys do another treatment? We're like, no, Papa, this is all God. This is natural.
Wow.
Obviously, I think for us, obviously, then was our first time ever getting pregnant. We called, I think by the evening, we called all our close friends. And everybody was rejoicing. It was amazing. It was amazing. And I think when we did the test, we did the first one. We did the first one. And I said, let's do it again. We both sat down. We wept, as in, we wept. My husband and I, we cried. And we're like, oh my gosh. And then obviously, everything started progressing. Obviously, we called our GP the next day. They're like, oh, you have to call up, do your self-referral. Okay. And then our first appointment was a 12-week appointment. Yeah. But in the excitement, we decided to go for like a private scan when I was 10 weeks, because by then, everything was just a bit, I was already not showing. Obviously, with hindsight, it was just maybe all up in my head, I don't know. But I just felt like, oh, am I showing? Is my nose big? Am I having stretch marks? And we went for a private scan. Right. And I thank God for that scan, because it was done by a Christian, it was done by Dr. Cooker, the scan. Yeah. And when we got to the hospital, obviously they did put the thing on my tummy. She was in her face. And she was like, we have to do, I put it inside of you again. So when she now finished, obviously from the screen, everything was just blank. I was looking at my husband that, okay, what's going on? And then she said I should sit up. And she was like, I'm sorry that the fetus stopped growing. Wow. That the pregnancy is not viable. Wow. Mommy. Wow. Do you know that I didn't even know what kind of strength? Wow. I did not cry. I was like, okay. And that day was a Friday.
We had planned weeks. How many weeks?
Sorry?
How many?
So weeks? we found out at 10 weeks. So I think the fetus had stopped growing at 8 weeks.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you found out at 10 weeks, but the fetus had stopped growing at 8 weeks.
Yes, we found out at 10 weeks. So we're 10 weeks pregnant.
Wow.
Supposedly pregnant.
Okay. So
when she said it, obviously thank God she went into the pastoral mood. Yeah. Just talked to us and spoke to Landry. And Landry and I, there was no tear. I was just looking. Wow. He said, okay. So we got up, we got into the car. Yeah. Obviously she was looking at me like, okay, I said, and she told me, I'm actually okay with that. I don't know, this is not me. This is not the Abisola, but I am fine. I'm actually doing okay. Yeah. She was like, so she talked to us that because of the natural conception, that once this has happened, that there's every chance it would happen again. Just told us what to do. Yeah. And then she said the reason, and she also told us that it was a miscarriage. Okay, so my body, your body hasn't realized that you've miscarried.
Okay.
So I was still having all the, so up until then, I was still having all the symptoms of pregnancy. So she was like, that what happens is that your body has to naturally know that you've miscarried. And once it does that, things will naturally happen and you will bleed out, blah, 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 blah. So we're just, okay, said, okay. So she said within a day or two,
okay,
or that it doesn't, obviously your body, everybody's body is different.
Yeah.
But she said your body would now realize that you've had a miscarriage and then it kickstarts the whole process.
Okay.
So when going to the car, that day we had plans to, we had a class. Lam and I teach premarital classes at Jesus House.
Okay.
And we're supporting teachers that day.
Okay.
And I was like, do you want to go home? I'm like, no, I'm not going home. We have a commitment. We're going to church. So we got to church, and we got to church early because obviously we had finished in the hospital.
Yeah.
And a few people that knew my tribe, as I call them, two of them were in the office. And all this while we were just sitting in the car. I kept on saying, oh, wow. Oh, and I'll touch my tummy. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And then we got to the church, and then Larry meant to set up for premarital class.
Right. And
I walked into Ayobami's office, Onuloyo, and he was there. Obviously, he was very excited.
Okay.
And I sat down in his office with Wally Gibson White. I just said, oh, by the way, we've lost the baby. They were like, what do you mean? And I just burst out crying.
Wow.
So that's when I just started crying that I think that's when we've actually lost the baby. And they were like, they were trying to understand, as in, what are you doing here? What happened? And why are you in the office? Why are you not at home? Why are you not in the hospital? And then Larry came in and explained to them. So Larry was like, Abisola, do you know what? Well, I went to Doc's office. I went to lay down on the couch.
Okay.
So I didn't go for the class. So Larry went to teach.
Okay.
And then the next day was the royal wedding. We had a wedding on that day. Okay. And I got up and I went for this wedding. I put on makeup. I'm sure you had that wedding. I walked in,
yes.
And a few people that I knew
yes.
were looking at me like, are you having a laugh? What are you doing here? We took pictures, selfie. I even helped at the wedding. We helped organize food.
Wow.
I'm like, so yes, so we did that. And then on Sunday, we had told your husband, but we hadn't told pastor.
Okay.
And I was like, I didn't want to tell pastor over the phone. Like, let's go to church. Then he was like, are you sure? And that morning, I started contracting. Now, obviously, with hindsight, I didn't realize I was contracting. I was just having period pains that would come and go. But I didn't tell Landry because I knew if I told him, he would say, let's not go to church. Okay. So we went to church. And by then, I now knew that, obviously, I'm a woman, that this is mild contraction because it would start, it would go. So I used painkillers. We told pastor if he could fall on the floor because he was like, what? Wow. But we told him, and then we had my friend's daughter was 5. Okay. And I'm like, because she actually said, Auntie, I want you to come to my birthday. This was months before. So I was like, we are going for that birthday. By now, he knew that I was in pain, but it was manageable. Okay. So we went for the 5th birthday. Mama, I had to hold on to their stool because I was now contracting. Wow. But I didn't even know so I wasn't sure what to do. And then I went to the bathroom. I was bleeding. By this time, I was crawling. So I had to crawl to get my phone. I had my phone with me. So I had to crawl to open the door so that Larry could get in. So they carried me. This is when a few people now knew what was going on because by then I was moaning. I was in so much pain. So we're going to go to our local hospital. Okay. But then because we're in Kingston, we just did A&E in Kingston. Okay. And that was like the whole drama. So I had to go through contraction. I was contracting. I was in labor for, when they said do not labor in vain, I knew what it meant because I was having contractions for like 14 hours. Wow. And that was because they took out everything, but the sac that held the fetus did not explore. Okay. So it was on my cervix. Okay. So I was contracting. So in the morning, anyways, I had to have surgery. They had to do like a DNC kind of thing. And I was admitted in the hospital. I think I spoke to you, obviously. I spoke to you guys on my way out of the hospital. And by the time we got home, we had a few friends coming to the house. Everybody was looking at me. I'm like, okay, let's move on. But I don't know where I got the strength. Because this is me, I'm a very emotional person. I'm a crybaby. But Mama, after the cry I had in Ayobami's office, in church office, I kid you not, that was the end of the crying phase. Wow. By the 3 days later, Larry had to report me. He was angry with me because I was already working on my laptop. Because they signed me off work. I was bored. I was already on my laptop. I'm going back to work. Life has to go on. And he was like, and that was for us another redefining stage in our relationship, Larry and I's relationship, because he was like, I cannot believe this is my wife. Because he was ready getting it mentally prepared that I have to carry this, my precious wife. But where the strength came from, I don't know. God. I'm just like, but I think for us, what we took out from it was I think because I would never have imagined that I would conceive naturally. So I tell people that that was the testimony of this pregnancy, the one we lost, that I conceived naturally, because all I can remember was 3% chance of conception.
And God
because that, so for us, when people ask us, we were asking Larry that, has she cried? Has she fallen apart? And it's like, you don't understand that we are happy, we are reassured, we know that God can. At this what Larry said, I knew that God would do it.
Yeah.
But God needed to show Bisola that I am not a man. I do not believe in all those doctors' reports. I said it, I would do it. So for me, that's what I took away from that thing. And that's how we just kind of moved on.
Yeah.
So there was no PC party. There was no, and by then I'd had baby stuff. I did not give them, I kept the baby stuff that I had, that I would keep, you know, building on my baby stuff, both girl and boy, whichever one. So this, which I've been doing that for years. My mother-in-law started that with me, I think 12 years ago.
Okay.
I think just when she brought 2 bags from America of children's stuff for boys. And then from then, I was just building up on that. And I had a lot of people bless me with stuff for babies. I had one of my aunties in my fellowship every month for 2 years giving me gifts for a baby boy.
Wow.
So, but normally I would, me, would have just take that bag, give it out. I said, no, that I'm gingered that it's going to happen. And that was in 2018. But the funny thing was, and then that when I lost the pregnancy, I remember that that was in May. I did the fast in June. That was the year that Anabasi came.
Yes.
And as we was ministering, and they told me that that my period might take about 3 months or blah, 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 to come back. That night, as we were ministering Onisha, whatever, in Jesus' house, my period started in Jesus' house. I was so big. I knelt down. I was crying, not tears of joy and tears of sadness. I was thanking God that my body was already coming back in a month, because they told me that it would take about 3 months, and because it was a miscarriage, that my body, anyway, so that happened. But the funny thing was, I lost the pregnancy in May. I started my period in June. In July, I started lactating. I think I told you. I was giving out breast milk. And I just thought, the devil, you have come again. That because we were not thinking, because they told me that, it happens after miscarriage, that maybe within a few months it will clear. Mama, this went on from July of 2018 to February 2019.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
How did you cope?
I refused. Ask my husband. I said, this thing, like, I'll wake up, I'm soaked in milk. Sometimes I'm just visiting with Larry. I just feel wetness. But I said, this devil, you want to try me? I refuse to be upset. Obviously, we did. I spoke to your husband. We went for a doctor of medical. I started to have, obviously, after, like, I think by September, they now took me serious in the hospital. That, okay, we need to get this girl checked. They now realized that my body, even though I had miscarried, my body hadn't realized. So I had the hormonal level of a pregnant woman or a nursing mother. So my body hadn't realized that I was not pregnant anymore. I was not nursing a child.
Whoa.
So so they now had to I had to go on medication and all sorts to bring my prolactin level down. Thank God for the wisdom of God in doctors. So, and then in February of 2019, it stopped. Thank God. So that stopped.
Amazing. I mean, really, the strength of God and the grace of God upon you.
So
That was quite traumatic when you're not pregnant, but you're still lactating. And every time that happens, you must, well, thank God. Thank God.
So basically, even having sex was interesting, because any small thing out, as in literally, my boobs just get big and I'll just start leaking milk. I'm just like that. But I think for me, I was like, this one, I'm ready for you. That this devil, you want to try? Because it could mess up my mind. But it's like, nah, that this one, I will just wipe it off. I will change my top. I didn't wear breast. No, like wear breast, but I'm like, nah, I ain't wearing no. I'm not going to go into wearing that. I'll just keep cleaning it. And I'll just be saying, God, as I'm cleaning this thing, one day it'll be a child that will, be nursing and all of that. So so we did. So that happened until February of last year.
Amazing. Okay, so that happened, and then
actually say the story.
Pregnancy. So okay.
No, even before that, there's a story that I have to tell. So in March, so as I said, with Jesus, I stopped coming for Mother's Day in Jesus' house. After a few years, I just stopped coming for Mother's Day because it was very hard. That was a hard one for me. Even with all my bragado, Mother's Day was a damper on my emotions because.
Sorry, so let me just interrupt you. We've got like 9 minutes. Do you mind? I know you just wanted 1 hour. If because we've still got, and I'm sure people, please, if you have questions, can you put them in the question box for Bisola, please. Right. Okay, I was going to ask. Oh, do you mind, Bisola, if we just go over a bit after over 1 hour, please? Thank you, sweetheart. You know, when people say that, or what you just said now about going for Mother's Day, tell me exactly what was it? Is it because they acknowledge mothers, or what was it exactly that was a bit painful for you?
I think looking back now,
yeah,
it was a lot of the things that I thought that it was. So I think it was more of, I felt shame.
Okay.
I felt the shame that, you know, you're a woman and you don't have a child. So because of that, I had labeled myself. So I saw my friend Fumi and Gibson White and Tobilaba's godmother, that I feel like I'm wearing a label, barrenness on my forehead.
Yeah.
That everybody knows that I don't have a child. So if it's not Mother's Day, it's fine. And then another thing was, people mean well.
Was that perceived, or did anybody say that to you? It was just, yeah.
I mean, I think we had a discussion. People had said those stuff to me. I mean, I've had people say,
yes, please tell them some of the things you said. People, I was so annoyed when she told me these things. Tell
I remember one day, this was after our first treatment, in between the first and second treatment.
Yeah.
I was in front of house. I was waiting for, we had finished one of the evening services or something like that. And I had one of the older mummies, obviously like a grandma.
Yeah.
And she was in front of house, and she asked us that, I always were talking. I was waiting for Landway, and I think we had leadership. You guys had leadership meeting.
Okay. So
a quick meeting we passed. So I was waiting in front of house, and then she was like, "Oh, that's so. How are you guys?" I'm like, "We're fine." She's like, "That's how are we in terms of that? You know." And this was in Yoruba. Conversation was in Yoruba. That in terms of childbearing, I said that, "Oh, we're waiting on the Lord. That we're trusting God." She now said that she had something to say. She now said, "Oh, that when do we have," obviously this was a Yoruba conversation, that she sees Lime and I a lot in church. That if we say we're trying for a child, that how can we spend so much time in church, and that do we think that because she said in Yoruba, she's Yoruba, that I can say that anything one more, and mama in church all the time. So in like she got she be more. I looked at her, I'm like basically that we're always in church. So when do we have the time to do the needful, to have a baby? When every time she comes to this Jesus house, she either see myself, or she'll see my husband, or she'll see both of us. That's why if we're always in church, when are we going to have time to have sex, to have this child? So I'm like,
honestly,
I said that I don't know, that it's God, in God we trust, that kind of thing. But I just kind of just laughed it off, that at all that we do have time. That they're going on. And then there's another time my mom came on holiday.
Yeah.
I mean, please come to Jesus' house. People know that I love children. Yeah. People know that we have, even plus not my godchildren, plus my friends' children, they're all my children. So I'm always carrying one baby or the other. And so my mom came to church with me, and Larry didn't come. Larry was at home. Yeah. And someone told my mom, obviously someone visited my mom, and she told my mom, she's like, that your daughter's, obviously I was carrying one of the babies. And she was like, oh, auntie, your daughter, this Jesus, they know her, that she always carry other people's children, that we're waiting for when she'll carry her own child. Wow. When she said that, my mom just held my hand. My mom was standing next to me, and I just looked up at her, and my mom just held my hand, and I didn't say anything. We did not say anything. I didn't react, nothing. And then on our way home, because we came on train, right. My mom was not talking to me that it's okay, that things like that, don't get upset. Just when you get home, just talk to God about it, and don't even get upset with them that maybe she didn't mean it the way it came out, that she might just have said it, not realizing that what she said, that why would you say that, auntie, this one, like, I didn't know how always carry everybody's children in Jesus' house. My mom was like, but don't stop what you do, continue carrying those children, continue being the godmother, the auntie that you are, kind of thing. So yeah, so we had all of those, so we had quite a few of those kind of side comments. And then on Mother's Day, I know that I have my friends. I have people that care about me. I have people that pray for me. Yeah. I know that people that pray for me, that it's not until Mother's Day they'll say, I pray for you. So I think I come to church, a lot of times people feel the need in the red, the red corridor. Yeah. People that don't really, that on a normal Sunday, they won't call me to pray with me. But on that Sunday, they want to. So can you imagine people are around, they just call you, come. They start laying hand on your tummy and speaking. And I'm like, just leave me. I don't, and it always happens on Mother's Day where people feel like they have to express it. Yeah. But I'm like, next Sunday is not Mother's Day. Call me on the red corridor. Nobody will even associate it with Mother's Day. I'm already feeling one kind. You're not calling me in the midst of people, singling me out and all of that. So yeah, so I had another experience that I just thought I'm not coming to church. But then last year, Larry had asked me, this obviously we had the miscarriage, but when I got pregnant, Mama, I had plans for 2019 Mother's Day. Yeah, I was coming to the church, and then by then the baby would have been born in December of 2018.
Yeah.
So I had plans that this Mother's Day they will know. So Larry had asked me a few weeks before that, are you going for Mother's Day? I looked at him like, are you having a laugh? Of course not. I'm in this house. I watch online, because what he does is he'll go to church.
Yeah.
He'll bring back plenty presents from all my godchildren, all the Auntie Bisola. I said, I'm not going. So he left it. He was like, I think you should go. Go and pray about it. I said, babe, let me let you know now. I ain't praying Jack, because I know if I pray and God says I should go, I have to go. But not knowing, let's just leave it like that. And then I got a call from Mrs. Gibson White.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, Bisola, are you going to church on Sunday? I'm like, of course. She was like, oh, you have to go. That God said you have to go. I said, Mrs. Gibson, I'm not going anywhere. They came here. I was on the phone. Mama, I was like a child. I was crying. I was begging. She said, Bisola, that if she was almost in tears, that if it was my own decision, I would say, don't go. But God said that he needs to break something, that you need to go to church on Mother's Day. You need to face your fears. You need to put devil to shame. I was on the floor. They came. They were begging, as in I was like a child begging that please don't make me go. Please don't make me go. She was like, Bisola, I cannot disobey God. This is God that has said. That is not me. So on that Sunday, Lami went to church early. So she came here to pick me with my godson, with her son. And I hadn't worn my wig. I hadn't done any makeup. She got me, I went into her car. I had everything with me. I was begging her that please. So when we got halfway to church, my best friend lives off the A40. Yeah. And I said, just stop here. I'll even walk to our house. Don't go. She's like, So when I got to IKEA, she said, Bisola, better do your makeup and hair. Not you get to church looking like this. So I had to quickly Kinney, and then I think it was when we got to the parking place, and that was my godson. He just looked to me, he was like, well, auntie, because he was in the car. Refer was in the car, and this was last year, so he was 13. Yeah. He had seen me at my worst. He was like, well, auntie, but you are a mother. You are I know that you did not have me. You didn't give birth to me biologically, but you've been a mother to me from the day I was born. That I don't understand why you have to think that you're not a mother.
He's got one.
We'll come back.
Yeah, but go on. If he goes on.
That I don't know why you have to think that you're not a mother. Blah blah blah. So that one, as I went to church, by then Umi had done my high reinforcements. I had all my friends with me. That nobody would talk to you. Don't worry, we are here for you. Wow. And it was an amazing service. I had such an amazing time. I was thankful to God that I went. Yeah. And that was the year we got pregnant. And I just thank God that I had just been the obedience that I needed. Yeah. Yeah. For God to just open up, this is last year. Yeah. Because if she did not insist, trust me, Mama, I don't know where I would be. I don't know, but I just feel like that was also part of my story, part of our journey, in terms of that obedience. And she'll get on saying, so I just obey God. Yeah. God will do it. God will do something. And then we found out, when we come back, we'll talk about the whole To Be Lovers.
So we're going to go off. I'm going to log off now. Please come back. Please come back. Yes. So see you soon.
All right.
And
okay.